Welcome to Sense Style. I'm Stuart, and today I am talking about Henry Kissinger. Yes, the former U.S. Secretary of State in the 1970s. Because if anybody understood the appeal that power and authority has to women, it was Kissinger. He was not a good-looking guy. He was only 5'4", and yet he bedded 4 gorgeous celebrities and was married to 2 wealthy, beautiful women, one of whom was 6 feet tall. That is 8 inches taller than him. But he understood the appeal. He understood that women love power, women love authority, and he leveraged that for success with them. So today I have 8 fragrances, all of which exude authority, and if you behave and act with confidence while wearing them, they will work. Fragrance number 1, this is Tom Ford's Oud Minerale, and this is one of the strangest note breakdowns you're ever going to see. Basically, it's a marine accord wrapped around an oud accord. So you're going to get sea notes, seagrass, a very fresh balsam fir note, and salt. And essentially, it's an aquatic. It's a marine fragrance with bite. The oud is the bite. And that's a difficult thing to do. There are a lot of fragrances on the market that can't pull it off. This is Jimmy Choo Urban Hero. It's an aquatic with a leather note. It just doesn't feel right. But on a recent trip to Sephora, I tried a dozen fragrances. This one was by far the best. I knew I was going to get it. It just works despite the strange combination. So this fits into the authority theme in the same way that things like Dior Fahrenheit or Gucci Guilty Absolute do, is that they're bold fragrances. They're not something that the average person is going to wear. There's nothing submissive about them. That's one of the problems I have with vanilla. I find it submissive. So this tells people, hey, this is someone to be taken seriously. They take risks. You're also more prone to get questions asked. It's like, that's different. What is that? So it definitely has an authority vibe to it, and that's what we're going for. Bear in mind that in 2017, this was a private line fragrance, but in 2023, they moved it to the signature line. Tom Ford only does that if they think the fragrance is going to sell for them, that it has some kind of mass appeal. So this is a pleasant fragrance. It's the kind that you either love it or hate it at the beginning, but it's also a kind where you can grow into over time once you figure it out. Really good performance as well. Excellent authority fragrance. Fragrance number 2 is Dior Homme Sport 2021, and it's called this despite the fact that the official release date was in 2022, but even the fragrance encyclopedias call it 2021, so oh well. Another quirk about this fragrance is the fact that the tagline was, "It packs a punch like a boxer's uppercut." That's not fashion house language, especially for a fresh fragrance. I think what they were referring to is the ultra fresh feel that you get in the open. There's lemon and bergamot, but there's also a lot of aldehydes, and you get this blast of freshness in the open with the use of the heavy aldehydes. And the authority here, though, comes from the fresh resins. The elemi and especially the olibanum. Olibanum's a very expensive note, and fresh resins are not something that you would normally smell on a sport fragrance or in a gym. And so it's got a real air of high quality, of authority to it that I think really work. And it was about time, quite frankly, though, for Dior. This was their 4th release for sport fragrance in 14 years. I owned the 2017 version. It was boring, really bad. I didn't have it for very long. It's gone. But this one really did work, and this was Dimashie's parting gift to the world. This was his last fragrance. It's possible that a night out with the girls saved Christine Nagel's career. She's the master perfumer at Hermes, and she had just taken over from Jean-Claude Elena, a legend, and she was struggling. She went out for the girls' night out, and she noticed that a lot of the young men at the bar she was at were drinking gin. And because Hermes is a much smaller, not corporate house at all, she met with the head of perfumery and explored the idea of a gin overdose, an icy gin feel. They came up with Terre Hermes Eau Givree. This was a commercial and critical success. This was a 2023 Prestige Fragrance of the Year at the Fragrance Foundation. And after the success, there were no more questions about her choice as a master perfumer. Now, it's not all about juniper here. There's a citron note off the top. There's also a lot of timber, which is a spice. And then you've got mineral notes as well. There's also some woods in the base. And that's where I kind of struggle with this fragrance, because I've seen a comment so many times that this is like an icy breeze with a Terre d'Hermes signature underneath. I'm sorry, but I don't get that. Now, I still love the fragrance. I think it's fantastic. It's great in the summer. And I know a lot of people say, oh yeah, it totally fits the Terre d'Hermes vibe. I don't really see it. I mean, it has no musks like Terre d'Hermes in that it's a transparent light fragrance, but I don't really get the comparison, the heavy vetiver that I do with Terre. Still really good fragrance though. One thing I do not want to hear when I'm wearing a fragrance is that I smell like an old man. However, when you're going for an authority vibe, fragrances like Dior's Eau Sauvage, which definitely has an old-fashioned barbershop vibe to it, that doesn't work too badly because maturity and authority often go hand in hand. And yes, very much a lot of lavender. It's a light barbershop because essentially it's the lemon and the bergamot that you pick up more than anything here, but it still has a little bit of an old-fashioned vibe. The name Eau Sauvage means wild water, and that's going to make the origin of the name seem really strange. It came from the fact that Dior's best friend was a guy named Percy Savage, and he wanted to incorporate his friend's name into the actual fragrance, call it Eau Sauvage. I swear that's true, or at least I read it. Fragrance number 5 is Dunhill Icon. This is a heavy neroli base scent. So think bitter orange with a slight floral kick, kind of like orange blossom. There's a lot of it here, but this is fresher than that. It's got bergamot and black pepper in the background as well. So very fresh office fragrance kind of feel. So nothing really authoritative about it other than the fact that it's white collar office type fragrance. So if that means authority to you, then this is authoritative. But really what I put this in here for is just to talk about the fact that it is now available again. I hadn't been able to find it for the longest time. It is at FragranceNet for $84, and that actually is closer to, I think, probably its real value than the original like $45 price tag that it was going for the longest time. Because when I got it, it was so much better than I thought, and so much better than you normally get for a $40 fragrance. I think $84 is probably a little bit too much, but at least it is available. It's considered to be an all-time classic. So if you like fresh fragrances, if you like office fragrances, this one, yeah, I would grab it soon because it'll be gone completely very quickly. Fragrance number 6 is Nusuk's Ateeq, and this is a clone of Xerjoff's Naxos. And it's one of the very few clones I've ever tried. I have over 50 of them now that literally got me out of my seat. I hadn't smelled Naxos at the time, but I just couldn't believe how good this was. I just got up, I started sniffing it because this one had been sent to me. I was doing a sponsored video, and this particular video is not sponsored. I'm doing this of my own volition, but it was that good. It's actually gotten better over time. Naxos is a subtle tobacco fragrance, a little hint of sweetness. There's a nice honey vanilla combo to go with the tobacco. It's got a masculine air to it. This was quite synthetic at the beginning. Over time, the more time I wear it, the better it's getting. That's very common with Middle Eastern style fragrances. Performance is always solid. But yeah, if you're looking at something like a Naxos type fragrance, and I did have to buy a decant in order to compare it, this is a really good clone, despite a little bit of a synthetic feel. Very, very lovely fragrance, and authoritative in a high quality way. Like, this is just a beautiful scent. You will get noticed. Fragrance number 7, this is John Varvatos Vintage, and the authoritative element comes from the name vintage scent. For generally a vintage population, the maturity authoritative element here, but this does have a dark feel. It's a dark aromatic. So there's 7 aromatic notes here. So think like a slightly herbal feel, a little bit of lavender, but it's quite dark. You're also going to get leather and tobacco, and you get a fruity feel from the quince and the rhubarb. So it's a little bit like a dog's breakfast kind of thing. There's a lot going on, fruity feel, dark feel, aromatic feel, but it just works really nicely. The only problem with this one, which is so typical for John Varvatos, you're going to get 4 hours and that's it. But this, yeah, this is one of those fragrances where I don't wear it very often, and every time I smell it, I'm like, damn, that's better than I remember. Finally, we have Bijan for Men by Bijan, and it doesn't have an authoritative look to the bottle, but this is an old school scent from the 1970s, and boy, oh boy, it's very masculine, very aromatic, but it's got a spicy feel to it. So, you know, it's got the vintage, mature quality that gives them an authoritative air, but it's also a very strong, potent, masculine fragrance with a spicy kick. There are 4 different spicy notes here, but the cloves really stand out. It's got a pungent quality to it. You can get the bottle now at a pretty inexpensive price. You don't have the same depth of the original, but certainly the performance is there. You're going to get 6 or 7 hours, and it does project quite a bit. Be careful. I'd never understood how feminine the bottle looks and the contrast with how masculine the fragrance is. So anyway, yeah, this Henry Kissinger, he'd know a lot about the whole authority thing. I do think it works, certainly with certain women, not with all. Sometimes being too authoritative, too domineering can put some women off. But yeah, something to explore. Anyway, thanks for watching.